Chairman Committee on Customs in the House of Rep has been speaking on his visit to Lagos with members of his committee. Also on customs reports, Airport Command intercept elephant Tusks from smugglers at the airport. Plus, more reports. I am Egiseme Idinye. Stay tuned. The Chairman House Committee on Customs has been speaking on his visit to customs formations in the Western Zone. He said that the visit to some custom formations in the Western Zone, including the border station, has shown that customs is ready to work. The chairman also speaks on customs issues in Nigeria.
At this time around, you don't have to sit down and appropriate what you've not seen. We've gone around, we've gone to various commands, and we've seen the challenges that Nigerian Customs Service are facing, most especially when it comes to the general welfare of the servicemen and officers in the service, which includes their accommodation, office accommodation, and also their general well-being. As it is said, the bird that lays the golden egg should be taken care of. And they've been given a target. For us to realize that target, I think they have to be taken good care of.
Yeah, you were at the border. How do you feel when you get to the border? What did you say?
Well, it's an entire new experience. We've been able to learn what the men in the service are facing, what they're facing. There are quite a lot of challenges. I will not be able to mention all these challenges. This time in the century now we're in, most of this has to do with the technical equipment they need in carrying out their duties or discharging their duties. They need the state-of-art scanners. They don't have to go into doing physical examination, which avoids embarrassment and other things. I think they need a lot of support.
Yeah, finally, you are at the airport yesterday, and the controller was talking about scanning, which you just mentioned right now, and in less than a couple of months, he was able to make so much money, surpass his own revenue target, as he was telling you members. How did you feel when he was explaining all this to you?
Well, we feel great because from what he presented to us, he was given a target and he was able to surpass his target despite the drop in volume of cargo. That shows there's a little bit gearing up in their attitude towards their work.
So what advice will you be giving to Nigerian importers now?
The only advice I will give them is not to cut corners. They should be transparent in their dealings with the Nigerian Customs Service because they are the people that bring food to the table. So they should be treated properly. And from the Nigerian Customs Service, they should be able to clear the items within a very, very, very short time. There shouldn't be discretional powers given because if there's discretional powers, that translates into corruption. So I think they should be supported because without these agents, I don't think, because the customs are not the agents are those that bring these businesses. So they should be supported and they should be given all the cooperation.
How do you feel, sir?
Yeah, I feel happy and great that many of the 8 assemblies, some of them 8 assemblies of national assemblies, House of Reps, members of the Customs Committee. It's nice and good that they are here because now they can see for themselves. No more anybody telling them it is this or it is this. They have seen for themselves how we are working, our environment, our tools, the things that we're working with. They have seen the state of our welfare, and so it put them in a better position to better understand. And then whenever custom matters comes to them, they will be fair and just to us, and also the entire country. So it's been nice them coming, and indeed it's been an honor and a privilege to be with this fine gentlemen that have been with us since summer.
The Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service has further thanked the management of the Nigerian Army for the training of its officers in Lagos. He was represented at the occasion where some officers who were trained by the Army on how to use AK-47. The ACG Zone A, who represented the CG, said the customs will continue to train members of his staff all over the country. The commanding officer at the occasion has this to say.
The family of 9 Brigade want to present this token for the Controller General in the hope that he will find a very instructive place within his office or home to continue to remind him that indeed he took a very wise decision by involving or committing himself to the professionalism of the Nigerian Customs. Thank you, sir.
Next is presentation of our 5 to 5 justice, sir.
Mental fitness and above all, to always do things the right way and the right time. We appreciate the vision of the Controller General, which we consider very apt, very instructive, and quite timely. That is why we want to also present this jersey to him so that he will continue to member together with us. Congratulations.
The area controller in charge of KLT also said that his men are ready to work.
Today's is one of my happiest days in my career. For an idea to reality, that my command, which I inherited, that had no enforcement unit, today I have a properly well-trained enforcement officers. And I know that from here it's just the beginning. And as I promised before, that this command is going to be one of the best. The military training is concluded, but the next level training is to train them how to become competent enforcement officers. I've already concluded plans on how to train them, how to combat most of the manual enforcement businesses, particularly the process and procedures like session diary writing, boarding and rummaging, detention, and seizure notice, and how to process a case file. All these things we are going to automate them. And the applications for this has already been concluded. The training module for it is already about to be concluded. So the next phase of the training is not only to physically fit, not only to be competent in arms and ammunition, food drill and ceremonial, keeping our armory. They will always become competent as custom enforcement officers who will be able to put to use the computer applications that have been designed to make them more efficient, transparent, and more productive. The revenue drive cannot only be gotten just by wishing for it. It's through training our officer to actually understand what they should be doing at their point of duty. So training is one of the most important things in my own view. to prepare officers to be able to deliver. Without training, they will only be using their common sense. And common sense is not the best thing to use most of the time. Because when you train and retrain, they become so automated that there's a precision. And the result is always predictable and can be determined. So that is my feeling today, that I have succeeded into delivering one of those very important key of training them by the army for being very fit and proper enforcement officers.
You are watching the program Customs Report. The controller in charge of the airport has said that his command has intercepted bags of elephant tusks about to be transported or shipped outside the country. The controller speaks more on the seizure.
Schedule 6 export prohibition list of CET prohibits the exportation of wild animals regarded as endangered species, and elephant tusk is one of such. 2 days ago, my men made a seizure of 387 pieces of elephant tusk. We had earlier made 291 pieces too of processed elephant tusks into bangles and combs. You can see them in different sacks. We intend to hand this over to Nigeria, who are the appropriate government agency to handle such cases. There are 2 arrests made, foreigners. They are already in our cell detention, pending further investigation. On the other hand, yesterday, 8 sacks of pangolin scales were arrested too from being exported. Again, this is caught by the same law that elephant tusks are affected. And pangolin is an animal that is the most trafficked. The animal itself is eating the flesh, while the scales are used to process Chinese medicine. So they are not allowed to be exported, and then we have those bags and all part of it, weighing 381 kilograms.
So all this, how did your men get this seizure? Where are they coming from? Or were they leaving the country or coming to the country?
Export. They were being exported out of the country. So at the export change, the eagle-eyed officers stumbled across the bags, opened them and found them to be this. They were arrested.
Lagos Airport,
yes. Yes.
I understand you have some suspects. Which national are they? Suspects of what nationalities, and how did you get them, intercept them really?
Of course, they claimed ownership. They are Chinese nationals. They are with us. They claimed ownership of this, so we know that they are the suspects, the exporters and the suspects.
Somebody may just want to ask, where were they taking this consignment to? Which part of the world?
Outside the country. Perhaps I don't have that figure.
Outside the country. Yeah. What is going to happen to this? Is he going to hand them over?
Yes, we will hand them over to Nigeria, who are the appropriate agency to deal with such cases.
The controller also speaks on the revenue base by his command in the last couple of months.
As far as this command is concerned, we meet our targets consistently every month for the past 5 months. When I resumed here in January, I brought the Controller General's message. Our amiable Controller General, Colonel Hamid Ali, retired, that structures must change, reforms must take place, and that we did. Officers are flowing. They have bought into it, and that's why we are getting increased revenue. from January to date, not today, sorry, from January to May ending, we have collected a total of 18,553,756,359 kobo. This is 1,700,000,000 naira in excess of our target.
Sorry, take that last figure, please.
I will attribute this modest success to the efforts of my officers who have become more experts in their operations. They have demonstrated a very high level of discipline and decency and commitment. To that extent, we find that classification of goods are properly done, valuation takes the correct order using agreement on customs valuation, disputes are settled speedily, and then I must congratulate our stakeholders. They have become more and more compliant, and therefore there's strict facilitation going on here. You will understand that the nature of the activities we do here demands that goods must be delivered urgently. Those who make their importations are doing so because those materials are needed urgently, maybe for manufacturing or for oil wells. Sometimes it may take them a little while to get their pass, and then we give them pre-releases, and payments of duty are made based on the invoices and Form M values. By the time their goods are taken, when the PAR now comes, we perfect the documents. So I must congratulate everybody, especially the stakeholders, like I have said. They now make honest declarations, truthful declarations, so customs interventions are minimal. I will not say that we have got it there yet. It's still work in progress.
The Federal Operation Unit Zone A, Nigerian Customs Service, has announced a seizure of 668 million naira of goods during the first quarter of this year. The unit also arrested 42 suspects in connection with the seized goods. The seized items include 8,148 bags of 50 kg rice, frozen products, vegetable oil, 32 units of vehicles, and general merchandise made of textile materials.
This quantity of rice was evacuated from a warehouse in Ibadan. Total number of 6,680 bags. The rice have issues. We have challenged the owner to produce valid custom documents. He couldn't, and then that is why actually we evacuated the rice to the government warehouse here. But we are still challenging him to produce valid custom documents, which he claims he has. We are still waiting for him to do that. Well, you can see that this bag is the Samsung with the 6,680 bags of rice, and the deceptive thing about it actually is specially produced and packaged for Rotimi Basin Investment Limited. That's part of the evacuation the Team A actually made from Ibadan. And we are still investigating because right now actually the operatives of that unit, that is Team A, were in Ibadan yesterday to another warehouse belonging to the same importer of that rice, where they found different brands of rice and even unbranded rice, industrial sewing machines, and these empty bags, which means actually from our suspicion, though actually we are still in investigation to confirm that this assorted types of rice are being rebagged inside this to make it look like actually that it's genuine valid important things like that. Well, a lot of seizures were made within the period. Though actually comparatively, if you compare with the number of seizures of the same quarter of 2015, the number of seizures of 2015 were far larger in number. But then the quality of the seizure of the first quarter of 2016 is higher by almost 65%. So you can see that actually because of the strategies we have adopted, the motivation we have given the officers, the free hand actually to take decision in the field and effect seizures of quality and bring to government warehouse. And even the number of suspects, you can see that actually has doubled in quantum because of the directives that actually we should not be having abandoned seizures. We have been processing case files. The legal seats have been up and doing, and then very soon actually so many of the suspects actually will be charged to court and prosecuted. Well, we have a rice of over 8,000 bags. We have frozen poultry products of over 12,000 cartons. We have vegetable oil. We have general cargoes, and we even have actually prohibited exports that we have seized within this period, about 18 containers that the Team A monitoring, Lagos monitoring, evacuated from our warehouse. And right now, actually, our lawyers are in the court submitting charges to the court or to charge those involved. So long actually they are smuggling, so long there will be seizures, because definitely actually we have promised and we have made up our mind that we will not, smugglers will not sleep in Zone A. We'll go after them, we'll seize their goods, we'll catch them and we will prosecute them.
The controller also announced the seizure of used tires from smugglers and also hard drugs. Just before I round up this week edition of the program, Customs Report, we brought you a report on the Nigerian Customs Service, where the chairman of Customs Committee who came to Lagos saying that Nigerian Customs Service is ready to work. For me, Igiseme Edinye, thanks for watching.